Good evening. RBS does not fully appreciate the impact of bank closures in Scotland and should halt its closure programme. That's according to Westminster's Scottish Affairs Committee, which also says the UK government should do more to apply pressure on the bank. With more, here's our political correspondent, Nick Eardley.
RBS's decision to close branches across Scotland provoked anger. 52 are to shut. RBS says the world of banking is changing. Its chief executive says more people are using the internet, fewer are using branches. But the Scottish Affairs Committee isn't convinced the plans are proportionate, and it questions whether the bank understands the impact they'll have.
There is real outrage and fury across communities right across Scotland who believe that their branch asset is a real feature and mainstay of their community. When the Royal Bank of Scotland came to our committee, they singularly refused to accept and to acknowledge that.
10 further branches, like this one in Biggar, have been given a stay of execution. But the committee isn't happy. Nobody has been appointed to review their viability and wants a decision on their future postponed. Since the UK government bailed out RBS in 2008, taxpayers have been its largest shareholder. Ministers are reluctant to get involved in commercial decisions, but the committee says more needs to be done.
What we're saying in our report is that they should now use any influence that they may have with RBS to try and do something to stop this closure programme. The branch closure programme starts in a couple of weeks' time, so this is really time specific now.
RBS said in a statement it does understand that closing a branch can be difficult for some customers, but they say they've invested in more ways to bank, such as at the post office and through mobile vans. And despite political criticism, closures are likely to continue. Nick Eardley, reporting Scotland.
Police are hunting a man who threatened a couple at gunpoint after forcing his way into their house as two children were sleeping upstairs. It happened in Bellshill in Lanarkshire on Friday night. The couple were helped by their daughter and her partner to chase the gunman away. 3 large wildfires have broken out in different areas of the Highlands. Around 30 firefighters are at a heath near Sheehaven on the Isle of Skye. The 2 other fires are in the Strathcarron area and Upper Geobig in Torridon. A student nurse who carried the Queen's Commonwealth Games baton for Glasgow 2014 faces being deported from the UK back to Ghana as Denzil Darku prepares for another hearing in front of Home Office officials. The First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has described his treatment as a disgrace. Stephen Gordon reports.
My name is Denzil Darku. I'm 18 years of age.
This was Denzil Darku in 2013, a video filmed as part of his successful campaign to be elected to the Scottish Youth Parliament. He'd moved to the UK from Ghana 5 years earlier. During the lead-up to the Commonwealth Games, he was nominated to carry the Queen's baton. But now his studies to become a nurse are on hold as he fights against deportation. This MSP, involved in his case since it began, says that in order to stay, UK government officials insist the former Paisley Grammar School pupil must prove that at 23 he's still dependent on his father.
I've known Denzil for a number of years through his work in the Scottish Youth Parliament and his charity work that he's done locally. He's an asset to this community and to our country. We should be letting Denzil stay in this country, not chasing him away with politically motivated targets.
In a newspaper interview, Denzil Darku says Scotland is the only home he now has. A hearing will be held next month, with the Home Office insisting that every case is considered on its individual merits. Stephen Gordon, reporting Scotland.
A new way of monitoring and recording bullying in Scottish schools will be introduced this autumn. Updated guidance will be issued to schools and councils. The Scottish Government says this should make it easier for teachers to identify trends and address the problem. The author of the SNP's new blueprint for independence says Scotland should remain a full member of the European Union. Andrew Wilson says that while his Growth Commission's remit didn't include the question of EU membership, he nonetheless believes an independent Scotland should remain a member. The Scottish Conservatives say that taking Scotland out of the UK isn't the answer to Brexit.
It's in all of our interest to maximise frictionless free trade and the movement of people, goods and services between us and the rest of the UK, Ireland and Europe.
But do you think an independent Scotland should be a full member of the European Union?
I think absolutely and emphatically so, yes.
The European Union accounts for only 16% of Scotland's trade. The rest of the UK, the single market, is 60%. So just based on the economics alone, Gordon, it is essential that we maintain absolute freedom of access within the UK single market. And that is something the SNP has tried to put barriers in front of as a result of their resistance to the EU withdrawal bill.
Football, and Auchinleck Talbot scored 2 injury-time goals to win the Scottish Junior Cup. They beat fellow Ayrshire side Halford United 3-2 to secure the cup title for a record 12th time. Thousands of runners took part in the Edinburgh Marathon Festival across the weekend. Today's full marathon began in the city centre before heading down the Royal Mile and past the Scottish Parliament. The route then went along the coast to the finish line at Musselburgh in East Lothian. And now it's time for the weather with Gillian. Thanks, Lucy.
Good evening to you. It's been a bit like 4 seasons in one day across the UK today. Blue skies and plenty of sunshine for much of Scotland, but there has been a real contrast east to west. Our hotspot was in the North West Highlands, in Verschiel, 26 Celsius. By contrast, just 12 Celsius in Edinburgh, where you've been plagued by mist and low cloud. And look further south across England and Wales, and it's been a day of torrential, thundery downpours. We have an amber be prepared warning in force from the Met Office. That risk continues not only through tonight, but over the next few days. And there has been some disruption at some of the airports, so it's worth bearing in mind if you're travelling. A quiet night north of the border, though that mist and low cloud will seep inland from the North Sea and it will become quite extensive. So that's how we'll start the day tomorrow. Quite a grey start for much of eastern Scotland and the central belt, but we'll see that burning back. That cloud will thin and break. And again, come the afternoon, most places seeing plenty of sunshine. A similar story for Northern Ireland, for Northern England. Further south across England and Wales, you'll still have that risk of some heavy thundery showers. 28 Celsius in the southeast, really hot and humid. North of the border, many places getting into the low 20s, but still a cooler feel around some of those North Sea coasts, pegging temperatures back at about 17 Celsius with some mist and low cloud. Looking ahead to Tuesday, again, quite a grey start, but once again, we'll see that burning back. Plenty of sunshine on offer and temperatures responding well and staying settled into Wednesday. That's the forecast. Lucy.
Gillian, thank you. And that's all from Reporting Scotland for the moment. We're back with an update just after the 10 o'clock news. Goodbye.